I already know the comments that I'm going to get. Jeremy, this is a football channel. We don't talk about basketball, da-da-da. Well, I'm a Rockets fan as well as a Texans fan, and I don't know about you. If you're a Rockets fan as well, go spam those H's down in the comments section because I'm, for one, pumped to have Kevin Durant rocking the Rockets jersey. I'm ready for him to be shooting those threes up in H-Town, up in Toyota Center next year. And I have this promise to you guys right now. If this video gets more than 500 H comments down in the comments section, I'm going to show it to my bosses and say, hey, maybe we start a Rockets channel here at Chat Sports because at this moment, we do not have one. If you want us to have a Rockets channel here at Chat Sports, you know what to do. Go down and spam those H's and welcome Kevin Durant to the city of Houston. Coming up on today's program, we have some Texans news and rumors, plus how a new injury in the NFL could lead to a Texans trade down the line. I'll tell you who that is later on in today's program. But before we get going, on my last video, I asked you guys, who are the top 6 passing touchdown leaders in all-time Texans history, and these 6 people got it right. Mater's Workshop, John Gatewood, Ethan Velez, Black Circle, XXX Mirage 3733, and Tryhards. You all got it right. These guys know ball. Shout out to you. I told you I'd give you a shout out, and here it is. Shout out to you guys for getting the correct answer on that one. And I don't know how this one slipped through the cracks. I was looking back at my videos last week, and I don't think I mentioned it. Texans training camp opens July 22nd. Rookies and vets. A lot of teams have rookies report like 4 or 5 days before the vets have to report. The Texans, they're all the same. July 22nd for everybody. I don't know how it slipped through the cracks last week. Sorry, that's on me. But I just wanted to make sure y'all are updated with those dates for Texans training camp. Now, let's get into the first story on today's show. Could an extension be on the horizon for CJ Gardner-Johnson, a new Texan? We traded for him with the Philadelphia Eagles. We sent Kenyon Green to Philly. We got CJ Gardner-Johnson, and Bleacher Report recently said that he was the most important Texan this offseason, going into this year, to get an extension, and this is what they had to say. Typically, teams should wait for a new acquisition to take a snap before signing him to a new deal, but Gardner-Johnson is past the prove-it stage of his career. He logged 6 interceptions in 2 of the last 3 seasons, recording 12 pass breakups last year, and plays multiple positions at a high level. The Texans know what they acquired when they traded for him. He's an underpaid addition with only $2 million guaranteed on his contract for this year. And that was part of the, great move by Nick Caserio earlier this offseason, trading for a guy who, like I said, $2 million guaranteed this year for, in my opinion, a top 10 safety in the NFL. And whenever you look at guys at his same position, what they're getting paid, he's not even in the same ballpark as these guys. This is the top paid guy, Kirby Joseph, at $21.25 million per year for all the safeties. Next, Antoine Winfield Jr., then Derwin James. And I'm not saying that the Texans need to give CJ Gardner-Johnson this amount of money. But if you're telling me guys like Cameron Bynum, Trevon Merrick are making in the $15 to $17 million a year range, and CJ Gardner-Johnson is getting $2 million guaranteed this year, I would say Gardner-Johnson's camp might think there's a little bit of a discrepancy there in talent versus how much they're getting paid. So I want to ask you folks at home, will the Texans extend CJ Gardner-Johnson before this season starts? Give me a yes, give me a no down in the comments section. You get hit with the YouTube ad break here, all good. Scroll on down and let me know your thoughts on CJ Gardner-Johnson. It should be, simple as, we should definitely pay the guy. But it's a little bit more of a tricky situation with CJ Gardner-Johnson. I'm not sure what he wants. He hasn't really had money on the forefront, which is kind of different than a lot of NFL players whenever they get traded, especially in his contract situation where he's at. They'd be talking about, wanting a new deal. He's talked more about, which as a Texans fan, I'm super pumped about. More about this team being a Super Bowl caliber team and about him getting back to another Super Bowl, proving himself and proving the Eagles wrong. And if you've been watching, my videos in the past month or two, I kind of broke down the CJ Gardner-Johnson drama that was happening a couple weeks ago with him and Eagles defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, because Vic Fangio came out and said it was a salary cap thing, right? Like, I was fine with the move because it was about salary caps. And Gardner-Johnson refuted that heavily. right? He said, that's not true. He actually went on to post this later on saying, I was a test dummy for them, the Eagles. So now they can be like, my scheme work, or did my skill set make it work? I had 0 issues. People had issues with me. So yeah, let the salary cap be the excuse. So that's telling me he wasn't demanding a new contract, at least from his words, how he made it sound. It's not a money thing for CJ Gardner-Johnson. He seems like more like he wants to win. And that makes it where it makes me more comfortable with the Texans going ahead and extending him, because I don't think he's going to demand top dollar. I don't think he's going to come out and say, hey, I need to get paid. Even though maybe he should, right? A guy who's had his much experience, has been as good as he's been, and also, may I add, is, I believe, 27, 28 years old. He's pretty young. I was shocked, too. I thought he was like 31 years old. He's on the right side of 30, and he's one of the best at his position. So I could see an extension happening. Nick Caserio trying to lock him down for a year or two more. But at the same time, CJ Gardner-Johnson has bounced around from team to team to team. He's won wherever he's gone, but he has not stayed on the same team for more than 2 years since I believe he played for the New Orleans Saints. So there's that as well. I'll break that down, obviously, as more news comes in about CJ Gardner-Johnson here on the channel. But coming up next, a major injury to the Las Vegas Raiders could lead to a possible trade at some point this season. I'll tell you who that player is, and it's a big name here coming up in just a moment. But 4th of July right around the corner. If you're trying to get a new 4th of July t-shirt, I know a lot of us usually rock those Old Navy t-shirts, but hey, time to rock some H-Town gear for the 4th of July. If you go to chatsports.com/Houston USA, all these shirts available. They have Texan shirts. They have Houston Astros shirts. They have Rocket shirts, all available. This is actually my personal favorite. This one is dope. If you're looking for something to kind of flare people at the 4th of July barbecue, maybe you want a polo like this USA Astros shirt. And like I said, they even have Rockets gear as well. If you go to chatsports.com/Houston USA, that link will be clickable in the comment section and description of today's video. You can check out all the 4th of July gear they have for all the Houston teams. So go check it out right now. Like I said, that link right here in the comment section and description of today's video. All right, let's get into the next part of today's show. Christian Wilkins, a major injury update. And shout out to my guy Mitchell Rins over on the Raiders Report. He actually kind of semi-broke this news last week. Wilkins underwent surgery for a Jones fracture in his left foot on October 8th in 2024, where he was shut down for the remainder of the 2024 NFL season. But the new report is that Wilkins needs another surgery, but he wants to see if he can play through it first. And basically, his decision is, does he manage the pain? Does he go through this season and not get surgery? Or does he get the surgery and sit out most of, if not the entire 2025 season for the Las Vegas Raiders? He's definitely, stuck in between, a rock and a hard place. It's where he either plays and he risks injuring himself more, or he doesn't play and become somewhat of a bust, and teams kind of look at him a little bit differently going into the 2026 season. Maybe the Raiders don't really feel as comfortable with him being their guy moving forward. If we look at the Raiders depth chart, behind Christian Wilkins, I do like Adam Butler. He was somebody who I petitioned the Texans to sign if they didn't re-sign Foley Fatukasi and before they signed Sheldon Rankins. I think Adam Butler is a really, really good player. But besides him, who else on this defensive tackle depth chart really gives you a lot of confidence? They obviously drafted 2 guys, J.J. Pegues and Tonka Hemingway. Besides Adam Butler, though, there's no guarantees on this defensive tackle depth chart. And without Wilkins, the Raiders' D-line is in some trouble. They are definitely in some trouble. They have Max Crosby. Besides him, they have Tyree Wilson, who is a first-round pick, has not shown it so far. They have Malcolm Kuntz coming off injury last year. They'll need some help on that defensive line, and they'll need some defensive tackle help at some point this season. Enter the Houston Texans, who, namely, have amazing depth on their defensive line. Look at these names. All 5 of these guys, I think, could start for most NFL teams if they were to get traded to that team. Sheldon Rankins, Tim Settle, DeMeco Autry, Will Anderson Jr., Danielle Hunter, all 5 of the guys you see right there, I think are maybe not premier, but starting level caliber guys for almost every single NFL team out there. And that's without even mentioning Mario Edwards Jr., Foley Fatukasi, Derek Barnett, and Darrell Taylor, right? All these guys, really, really good. So that leads me to this. If the Raiders are desperate, If they need somebody, this would be my trade offer to them. Tim Settle, who's on the last year of his deal, would save the Texans $2 million. That would be my trade chip to the Las Vegas Raiders. And I would want a 2026 third-round pick. And I know the eyes are rolling. People who aren't Texans fans are probably seeing this trade and going, this dude's a homer. This dude is stupid. Tim Settle for a third-round pick? What fantasy land do you live in, Jeremy? Well, I'll tell you why I offered this. Because this would be my offer because I don't think the Texans really need to trade anybody away. I made such an insane ask because this team is competing for a championship to be in the AFC Championship game, to go to a Super Bowl this season. This team is competing for that this season. And we don't need to trade away valuable guys, really good depth, unless we're getting an insane return. And that's why I offered such an insane package, because I don't want to get rid of Tim Settle Jr. He had the best year of his career last season for the Texans, and we know defensive line, they need to rotate in and out, especially the big boys in the middle at defensive tackle. So why would you give up really good depth, a really good piece to this defense, unless you're getting an insane return? So that would be my only offer, would be a third-round pick for Tim Settle if the Raiders are desperate for defensive tackle help. I really don't think that trade would go through. I think the Raiders would hang up the phone and laugh at you. But at the same time, if I'm the Texans, I don't need an extra third-round pick next year, right? I need production this year. I need people who are going to help us this season. And that's why that would be my trade offer to the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, that's all I got for you on today's show. Make sure you stay up to date with the latest going on around the Houston Texans by hitting that subscribe button. It's 100% free. My promise to you is this. Hit that subscribe button. If you don't like it in a week, you can unsubscribe. No skin off my back. But let me prove to you why this is the #1 Texans channel here on YouTube.